Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.
It's that time of the fortnight where we catch up with Dubbo Mayor Matt Dickinson. G'day, Matt. How are you, mate? How goes it?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Always great to be chatting to you, and I'm just always amazed at how many people I get comments from after I've been on 2WEB. You guys go everywhere.
Yeah, we've got a big footprint. We've got a very, very big footprint. I think it's about a size 17 or something like that.
It is a big area.
It is a big area indeed. All right, so we've got a bit of a feel-good one first up today. We're talking about a former exchange student back in town.
Exactly right. We've had a sister city relationship with Minakamo in Japan since 1989, so the 2nd of June 1989, so we're almost at 35 years.
Wow.
And I had a phone call from a Dubbo resident just the other day, and he said, have you got a spare 10 minutes just to pop in and say good day, because I've got a former exchange student here, and we couldn't work out whether he was part of the very first or maybe the second exchange program, so we're going back to 1991.
Wow.
And so he came across as an exchange student, stayed at this local residence place, and so have been in touch a little bit over the years, but he said, I'd love to come back and visit Dubbo, bring my 9-year-old son over and show him the place that I went to in 1991. So here we are, 33 years after that person visited. He came back, he stayed at the same person's place, so he stayed there again and went around and spent a few days looking at Dubbo. I met him and had a talk to him, and again, his son was pretty excited about just being here in Dubbo, but obviously things have changed ever so slightly in those 33 years. He was quite fascinated by how much things have changed, but there's a whole range of advantages we have with our Sister City program. Our Jurian Tea House, our Shoyuan garden, Japanese gardens are fantastic parts of our landscape now. But just that exchange that you have, that cultural exchange that you have, and those relationships that are built, I think is a very important part of it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And the Japanese people are just such nice people, such warm and friendly people as well.
Very respectful as well.
Oh, absolutely. Did you know that they do not take tests when they start primary school for the first 3 years? There's no tests, and most of the focus is all on just learning manners, basically. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. So it explains why they're wonderful people. Now, we're talking about a road upgrade as well. ASM, tell us a little bit more about this one.
So Australian Strategic Materials is going to have a very important project for not just Dubbo, but for the world when their Toongai mine gets up and running, and I'm estimating around 2028 that'll be up and running. And that'll be mining rare earth minerals. A lot of those will be used in electric vehicles, for example, magnets in electric vehicles. Now, that mine is going to be a major project. They're raising about $1.7 billion as we speak to get that mine up and going. But one of the first things people in Dubbo will see will be some upgrades along Obley Road. They're going to be spending $20 million along Obley Road. Now, that's the road that takes you out past the zoo and then continues out further along that particular road. So the residents out along there, not in the next week or two, but the planning's already started for this, we'll start to see some changes, some roadworks there. There'll be some asphalt along past the zoo. One of the main things I'll see is there's a creek that's a fairly steep creek there that's got a causeway in at the moment. For the B-doubles that ASM will require there, that's just not good enough, so they'll have to put a bridge in there. So when people see mining around an area, there's a whole range of advantages, but those road upgrades along there will be one of those advantages, and again, that'll be years before the mine actually starts.
It's going to make it a lot better, make the roads obviously a lot better for locals as well. So there's a lot of spin-offs, isn't there, really, with such things such as a mine. So that's really good. Good to see.
Spot on. And again, there's the upgrades that will occur even before the mining starts out there. So you're right, good for the economy, good for employment, but even for people along there, good for the road. Again, there'll be some interruptions in the early part of that, but then you'll end up with a better road. Yeah,
a little bit of pain for a lot of gain. Workshops. Boxar. Tell me a little bit more about this, mate.
Boxar, of course, is the Bureau of Crime, Statistics and Research. And people do talk about crime across the state, crime in Dubbo, crime across the nation. And we look at Boxar. I look at the Boxar stats that come out every 3 months about various crime stats. But we thought it would be worthwhile actually having a discussion with someone from Boxar, and so they were good enough to come out and do a presentation and drill down on a whole range of different stats and look at stats in different ways. And of course, you can slice and dice stats any way you like to make things look good or bad, but when you look at overall data to see what's happening overall, what are the overall trends, it's quite fascinating. One of the things that came out of that particular workshop and one of the discussion points was the comparison of crime data to CIFA scores. Now, CIFA is the socio-economic index for areas. So it gives you an idea of what areas are advantaged, what areas are disadvantaged, and then how crime compares there. And there's a direct linkage from the data we looked at for the most disadvantaged areas, the poorest areas, having the highest crime data and the highest crime stats. And that kind of makes sense, but it's always good when you can see data that backs up what makes sense to people. That was just one part of the information that came out. Of course, the crucial part, and it's a question that I actually asked this particular person, we hear often about crime and we hear that people want something done about crime. And what can local councils do? What levers have local councils got to pull to make a difference in crime? And the answer was, well, very little. Obviously, policing is controlled by the state government. Sentencing regimes are controlled by the state government.
The government, yeah.
Magistrates themselves are independent. They've got to follow the sentencing regime, but they're independent. No one can tell them what to do. So where local councils can play a part, in effect, is in very small areas. For example, education. This person said just educating people to not leave their keys sitting on the kitchen bench where someone can look in their window and say, there's the keys to a car. Because one of the things that was fascinating was 22% of break-ins to houses aren't people breaking into houses. Their primary objective is to steal a car. Modern cars are too hard to hotwire, so they've got to break in to steal the keys, to steal the car. So 22% of break-ins are specifically to steal cars. Don't leave your keys sitting out somewhere obvious, and it's less likely you're going to be broken into. So councils can maybe help with a bit of that education, but that's about it, which really is just tinkering around the edges.
Yeah, yep. And we're going to wrap up today with, of course, the elections are coming up, not too far away. Pre-candidates, let's talk.
There's a number of different information sessions that are being run, mainly run by local government New South Wales, not by council, in terms of election information, pre-candidate information. If you're thinking about standing for election, what does it involve? What things do you need to know? What do you need to be aware of? All those things. It can be a daunting process for people from the process where they haven't been involved before, if you haven't stood for election, if you don't know someone that has. So this is really to encourage lots of people to stand. The more people that stand for an election, the better candidates we get, the better council we'll get. So if you're thinking about it, have a look at our website, have a look at when some of the information sessions are coming up. They're coming up over the next month. Of course, crucial dates. The candidates can start registering. The New South Wales Electoral Commission is running our actual election. You can register from 8 a.m. on Monday, the 5th of August. You've got to be in, or the ballot draw will be conducted on the 15th of August, and then the election itself will occur on the 14th of September. So it's coming up quicker than we realise, so have a look at those pre-candidate information sessions.
Yeah, and do it now. Yeah, do it because it'll be here before we know it. Absolutely. Always a pleasure catching up with you, Matt. And we'll hand you back over to Rod. Rod's back on board tomorrow. So it's been great chatting with you, my friend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you handling me gently.
Always, mate, always. Good on you. Thank you very much. Matt Dickinson, Mayor of Dubbo Shire Council at Outback Radio 2WEB.
Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.